I can close my eyes and remember. It was midnight and I'd been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been faithful doing religious stuff, serving Jesus, trying my best to glorify God. And I was so tired and I began to weep. During that time, I was traveling 160 days a year for Jesus. I was turning out a book a year for Jesus. I was being a good pastor for Jesus. I was doing 5 broadcasts a week for Jesus. I was getting on an airplane and flying to the seminary where I now teach for Jesus. I was being a good husband for Jesus. I was being a good father for Jesus, and the wheels were coming off my wagon. I remember in the silence of that study, that late night, I said, God, I didn't ask for any of this. And you gave it to me, and I've got to do it until I die. And I would rather die. I'm not a contemplative or a mystic or anything, but that night Jesus came. I sensed his presence and the quietness of that presence, and the burden, as the older guys, older than me, have said, was lifted from my shoulders. And the next day, I resigned as the pastor of the church. Over the next year, I spent a lot of time learning what I'm going to teach you this morning from the same source from which I got it. If you listen, it could change your life. I'm going to start reading at the 38th verse of the 10th chapter of the Gospel according to Luke. Luke, who's an old and dear friend of mine, writes as follows. Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she went up to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you're anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which won't be taken away from her. Now, before we get down, I want to go down 2 or 3 side roads. And the first side road is this. Jesus needed a soft and safe place, and you do too.